Stephen, this event, of course, taking place under the shadow of COVID-19 and a very difficult time for businesses.
Yeah, that's right. And usually this is an event where business is trying to paint an optimistic picture of the year ahead. You know, this is a big event for politicians to come and speak to the business community in France. And usually they're talking about things like cutting taxes or regulation. But this time around, of course, everything is being dominated by COVID-19 and the economic crisis that it's provoked. An unprecedented slump in the French economy, as many global economies around the world are suffering as well. The worst economic crisis since the Second World War in the case of France. So businesses really struggling this year because of COVID. Up to now, they've been sustained largely by government help, but there are fears and warnings from many different agencies of an avalanche of bankruptcies that will happen towards the end of this year, as many companies, as they try to get back to business after the summer break, will find they simply cannot recover. So there are fears of massive job losses as a result. And while this event is trying to put a more optimistic spin, they've renamed it the Renaissance of Companies this year for MEDEF. It's a very bleak environment that many of the entrepreneurs who are coming to this event will find themselves in.
The Prime Minister is going to be speaking there shortly, and business leaders will certainly be listening closely for details of that French recovery plan to get to that renaissance. What more do we know about what's in the plan?
So it was meant to be announced yesterday. It's been pushed back now until next week. But this €100 billion plan is for what happens after COVID. It's the 2021 spending plan to relaunch the economy, to help it bounce back from that slump, which we're expecting of around 11% for 2020. So in that €100 billion, we know that 40 billion of that is going to come from the European Union and the EU-wide recovery plan that was agreed earlier this year. We had the Prime Minister say in that interview we were just hearing an extract of there that there's going to be €2 billion for the culture sector, one of the course the very hard hit because they've had to cancel so many events. There's going to be 30 billion accorded to green transition, as they're calling it, environmental measures in companies to help promote a transition towards a greener economy. That's another massive area investment. But the detail is all very broad at this stage. The government is waiting until after the schools go back next week to be able to put a big effort behind pushing this message that they are going to relaunch the economy. Of course, they've already put a huge amount of money into it as well. And that's going to be one of the big questions that business leaders will be looking for answers for as well. With so much public money, taxpayers' money going into the economy now to support it, is there going to be a point where businesses are going to have to pay more to cover that cost? So one of the many details we'll be looking for. We've got not only the Prime Minister, we've got the Finance Minister here as well, several other members of the Cabinet as well, as this event gets underway in the next hour or so.
Stephen, thanks so much for that. That's Stephen Carroll, our business editor, speaking there from MEDEF, the country's biggest employers' federation end of summer gathering.